Hi. I'm a little pooped. I think I've walked 50 miles today, pulling several hundred pounds, doing my biz, getting my exercise on, and looking for that white Volvo that ran me over about 4 weeks ago, intentionally, when I was doing 25 on an electric scooter, a Lime, which they don't warn you, hey, you might want to wear knee pads, helmets, crash gear, and other shit, because if some asshole cuts across 3 lanes, which this prick did, according to the witnesses who saw it, cut across 3 lanes to then cut in front of me and brake in the bike lane, just enough to clip the front end of the Lime, which sent it head over heels, which they'll literally flip when you're doing 25 miles an hour and you hit a bad bump or something. So it was risky to be going that fast on it anyway, because I think they're normally governed at about 15. But I had one that might have been a little souped up. Irregardless, when he did that, I flew 200 feet, according to witnesses, in the air. And you know what? I've decided it's not getting hit by the car that hurts so much. It's when you fly 200 feet in the air at 25, 30 miles an hour and you crash into the cement that goes, I don't give a fuck, I'm not moving. And you're breaking bones and fracturing ribs and kneecaps and knocking teeth out as your face and arms and legs and body slam and slide against the hard asphalt. Down that road of broken dreams, there I go again. If I had X dollars for Y amount of times that my government has tried to kill me, torture me, scare me into keeping my mouth shut, oh my God, I could have retired before 1999. I'd love to thank Edge much more with my foot up his ass from the FBI for literally some of the most corrupt plays by the Department of Justice and FBI to torture me and force me against my will to become a federal contractor working with them on cases for counterterrorism, counterintelligence, RICO, instrument fraud, terrorism, negotiation, a shit ton of stuff. And by the way, the pay was, you don't get to go to federal prison for knowing too much, for being an accessory after the fact, for withholding evidence that we're calling you to ask, hey, what do you know about Jerry Garcia or whomever? And I do mean celebrities. Hey, Kevin Costner and Whitney, God bless your late soul. You were the 2 that were actually cited when Ed Muchmore from the FBI called me up in the 1800s and was blowing so much smoke up me about, hey, you're in entertainment and you're seen hanging in Hollywood with Kevin Costner and Michelle Pfeiffer and Bruce Willis and Candace Bergen and all these people, and you're on ABC and you're syndicated on different networks, Rock Over London network in London, and global syndications, and even shows on other network for television and film and radio, and you're all of 20-something. How'd you do it? Now, when you first get a call with smoke blowing from the federal government up your ass, being born into politics like I was, I'm highly skeptical and know that some bullshit's up. When I tell people when the FBI first called me, tell me interrupt and go, oh, what'd you do wrong? Usually a federal agency doesn't call to recruit you for your intelligence and your genius or expertise or your ability to do encryption or deciphering or encoding or other things that their own best can't do. Even though you didn't go to Quantico and you could give a flying fuck about government because you know it's so corrupt from childhood because you were born into it. Being like a 3rd-generation Kennedy to the White House and having presidents and senators and governors and Teamsters and Black Panthers and Hells Angels and everybody else coming over for picnics and fundraisers and, you know, doing the stumping, as they called it in northern Michigan, for office. I was putting on bumper stickers as a kid because my mother was the chairman of the Democratic Party, and that's why IMDb says Kurt Kelly's only 49 because of first trace record. I'm kind of like Obama. He started school at 8 after he moved here from Pakistan. He's not actually born in America. Oh, sorry, Bomarama, I let the cat out of the bag, like so many people don't already know. You know, when you showed up with grandmas because you're Taliban religious leader father and white mother made you kind of like a mulatto terrorist child who was to be the, I hate to say this, brother, but the Uncle Tom, the guy that set it up for Trump and what has been planned since the writing of the Communist Manifesto. And I know because I've seen, oh my God, ancient documents and handwritten notes of meetings with my great-grandfather, relatives on the Kelly side, and other very influential families with knights and nobility and kings and queens and princesses and lords and people seated in Parliament or presidents in the White House. I come from a pretty wild bunch. You know, Irish, French, German. My family were equal opportunity fuckers. They like someone, they were with them. They wed them or bed them, or both. I have first cousins who are half Japanese. I'm proud of my multicultural, as I put on forums, other input in mutt, royal heritage. There's so many mixtures from Indian to Spanish to English, Irish, Welsh to you know, Nordic, Viking type stuff, and even back to Highlanders. And the people who guard the Holy Grail and all kinds of crazy stuff. When you dig deep enough and you do cross-referencing and indexing, like I did at Ellis Island, and you find, you know, they weren't typos because it was all handwritten with ink, sometimes with like quell ink from the 1700s, and you trace your family lineage of who got together with who, but who was parents of who, and you go back in the who's far enough and start digging into foreign cultures and go back centuries, which I've done. And you start researching and finding in stuff Mom left, because Mom kept everything. Some would say she was a hoarder or a pack rat. I wouldn't argue that. She was definitely a clutter freak and had, you know, the bell stamps, there's rating stamps for stuff, the green and the red and the purple or whatever the colors of stamps were, as well as, you know, birth certificates and original documents that went back some hundreds of years. It was a little undaunting. I'm sorry, what did you say? Oh, I'm taping something and I was talking.
How you doing?
I'm tired, what's up?
Tired too.
Okay, can I help you with something?
How you doing today?
I'm fucking booked.
Have a great day, bro.
You too, brother. What's your name?
Scoop.
Kurt Kelly. I think I've heard of you, Scooby.
Maybe you have.
You've been around here for a while?
Pretty long.
You from here? I've been here for 2 centuries, 4 decades, since I came up to do the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson in '83 with NBC. A while. You know Big Will and Monroe?
No, but what you said to me right now has just fucking awed me.
Why? I do television and film. I'm not really homeless. I'm eccentric.
Even if you were.
It doesn't
So
matter.
am I.
You know what? And sometimes some of the best people you meet are, because they're humble and real, unless they're crackheads and want to steal everything. Hey, give me a cigarette. If not, I'm going to rob you. You know, one of those buttheads. But, you know, cool people are cool people. I love your energy, brother. Hope to see you again. Maybe I'll hook up with you at the drum circle when I go there. We'll smoke out. You go to the drum circle? No. All right. I'll definitely see you then. Be blessed, brother. what I was taught to do from childhood is to emulate post etiquette and go out of your way to help others and have manners and please and thank you, excuse me, which is a lost open doors and throw your jacket down in the mud puddle and walk on the outside. I mean, seriously, I was drilled on that stuff because it became so second nature. I felt uncomfortable the first time no one made me walk on the inside on a sidewalk and accused me of being a chauvinist, which I wasn't. It was just the way I was brought up in manners and culture and protocol and decorum, and especially, by the time I was 16, I was working professionally 6 years at that point, doing network radio, television, film reviews, doing concerts, doing ad sales. I was a multitasker even as a kid, on top of going to school and playing sports and when I wasn't being a jock on the air or a jock on the court or whatever sport I was endeavoring, I was out touring or taking advanced college classes as early as junior high, while my school grades in grade school and high school weren't straight A's. I still carried a great grade point average. I had to get immediately into college with funding and scholarships, even though I was working, because I was, at that point, my mom had gone to school but hadn't completed, so I was a first generation, and there were special things at the time, first generation who was going to complete a degree. My mom did eventually complete degrees and got masters in her later years in psych and soc and correctional therapies, working with prisoners to psych ward people, and then eventually do real estate work. Candidly, sucked at sales, but she had people that liked her, and she made some years through politics and labor unions and other stuff. And because of that, people would go out of the way sometimes and look at the properties. Sometimes they took funds, but then they would get them and buy investment property from somebody to help them out because of all the stuff she did for them over the years. Karma is an amazing thing. Sometimes a lot of times, good people help bad people out because bad people I'm sure you have some people like that. Now, if those people are also your friends, you're a fucking idiot. That's on you. You get a gimme, you get a pass for your family. You pick who you were born to, where you were born, your name, your parents, your relatives. Every family has dysfunction. Nobody says that every family is lying through their teeth. Everybody has a weird uncle or aunt or grandparent dysfunction of some kind. If you're in denial, it's a deep root. I hope you swallow. However, through healing, talking with others, finding experts, and finding new ways to explore problems and come up with solutions versus the same way. Yeah, you're right, I'm a loser. I never got into them. I've seen some things they do. I've always been Mr. Positive, off, does have some privileges. I've been blessed to have opportunities that most kids or most people will never have the opportunity. And maybe the blessing to experience is some of the outrageous, hideous nightmares. Be careful what you wish for. I always ask God, show me the good, the bad, the ugly. Creator, I want to help with everything. And I knew from childhood I was here to help others. Help others find their way back, help others heal, help others recover, help others take blinders off, help people, empower people to be positive and be loving and giving, and to go out of my way to help empower people to make it to another day. I mean, for years, and this isn't braggadocio, I've helped with every charity imaginable, from children's charity, St. Jude's, TJ Martell, Kaiser's Children's Hospital, a lot of family institutions, aged institutions for Alzheimer's, for dementia, for AIDS, for blights, farmer problems. I've helped out with virtually everything that I've ever been asked to do. By choice, because of a promise I made to John Guerin and ABC when I thought I was getting a job at 16 at the ABC O&O WLS, and I had already been working at ABC doing network news as a news reporter, and had been working at ABC O&Os and major markets in television and radio. I thought it was a slam dunk. At 16, he thought, a couple more years to do me good, but at some point he would hire me, as long as I remembered throughout my career to pay it forward that if I saw good talent, that I opened the door for them. Don't push them through, don't make people do stuff. Lead a horse to water, but don't try and force it to drink. You can drown it. Literally. I mean, I grew up on farms. I know that to be true. It's the same with people. You can know somebody has the ability to do it based on your knowledge and skill set and talents and your professionalism, etc. And I've told people that I thought they had the grace or whatever to do certain things in different industries. And I've worked in so many different industries, from aerospace consulting to high tech and research and development and science and the arts and entertainment and television, film and radio and internet and secure transactions and developing voice over IP telephonies that are used around the world today, and credit card transactions that are used around the world today, and encryption technologies and base platform technologies with Microsoft and Google. I was one of the original architects with NSA and Google and FBI and Department of Justice, who was recruited in because of my expertise in already working with Microsoft and Sprint and telephones and broadcast at that point for years. I think it was back in 2003, 2004, when you had to be invited in to have prototype and develop in beta. Gmail is a new private email box to be later released to the public for free after we made it more special on Yahoo and Netscape and other AOL competitors, etc. at the time. Not a job I actually really wanted to do, because I was already so pissed at Microsoft and Disney and other companies who would terrorize me, and both with the Department of Justice and corrupt others, to bankrupt me, because in '99, when I owned 6 private companies, which I own many multiple companies privately still today, I was worth, one of my companies was worth, I think, about $10 billion in '99, and projected with an IPO we were doing to raise, I think, only $25 or $50 million, to be worth several trillion dollars within 2 years and several hundred trillion before a 5-year mark, and that was in '99. I would have had more money than Mark Zuckerberg or even Bill Gates or many other oil people, and by today's standards would have literally several high hundred millions of trillions, if not more, by the projections that we did and forecast and what has actually transpired in that frontier called internet electronic commerce. The concept of Amazon doing television and films and special projects and selling everything on the planet is actually a concept we developed and run patents and we got stuff through Department of Justice and Federal Library of Congress and others to register as, we were going to be entertainment, television, and news, and you could even touch on stuff back in the 90s with the technologies we invented, and you could find out what Madonna was wearing and where she got it, and the fabric and cost and colors, and you could get it available in order while you're watching our videos and concerts. As well as we were selling computers and books well before Amazon exploded and became the multi-Walmart on the internet, if you will, and then started diving into entertainment with their different programs that they now offer through Amazon and all the other services. That was all stuff that we had built and prototyped and ready, and we're launching back in 1993-94. However, as we were launching and deploying the biggest data centers at the time that could have carried most of the data and telephone calls at the time, in the late 90s, at that point when we were completing the data center for about $1 million plus, we had like OC3 fiber, like DOD, underwater sea fiber in Van Nuys, a recording studio where we could uplink the satellites live broadcast and be a phone and internet provider company that people could subscribe to, like a Netscape or some of the others of that time, because I had that much bandwidth and that many servers and other stuff. However, mysteriously, when my second wife, whose dad was high-level DOD and government and many others, tried to get me to go and move my company up and live with Bill Gates and incubate at Microsoft as the Chileans and unforthright others who said they had my back and best interest. I mean, multi-million and billionaires like the Cutler Estates and Montgomery's and Shea Stadium, Shea family, and several other high net worth people and Microsoft and others were going to invest and buy my public stock, but everybody's pissed because it's only taking 20% of my company public and would maintain 80% as private, so no one could overtake my company. So Technologies, because I really didn't need that much money to raise, it was $50 million, and we were going to be worth trillions in less than 24 months because of the percentages we had on all credit card transactions around the world through Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Carte Blanche, etc., because I had developed that technology and others. However, when my dysfunctional outlaws and devious professor ex-wife decided that I wasn't doing what they thought was best, which was selling out the majority of my company and just retiring, at a very early age in '99 as Fat Cat, because I was already worth $10 billion. She had a second honeymoon, and I couldn't wait, even though I was right in the middle of a public offering and funding with Merrill Lynch and Bank of America, doing an IPO, and not on the penny stocks, but on the New York Stock Exchange with a registered company that had high Dun & Bradstreet global ratings and customer service and stuff. We were doing it right. I had already come off years of working at networks and studios as talent management, already running my own private companies since, the early to mid-'80s, while being a network employee that wore more hats than anybody in network history, being, producer, director, writer, host, air talent, actor, could do outside syndications and international distributions and productions, radio, television, film, controlled promotions, research, scheduling. There was nothing happening at a network station that I didn't have my finger in, unlike I'm the general manager, sales director. These are my contracts. And I could even do outside research and development, including, high-level drug projects with CIA, White House, and UCLA, and nearly got fired from ABC for being in the microdosing program with CIA and the Jason Bourne project, and I'd already been on CIA outings and assignments as a contractor since 1819. Not that I chose it. The president, because he knew me, and others at ABC and others gave me this all expense paid trip, and I thought I was going to go on this cool trip for years and integrity and news broadcasting and television and film and children's shows and entertainment. Yeah, it was in part true. Until I landed and realized I was in a war zone in Belize and headed to a deeper war zone funded by CIA and drug lords in Sandinista, Nicaragua, and was I speaking up incorrectly or not with, you know, the guys with machetes and machine guns were ripping my stuff apart when some guy types in with, "Hi, I'm in the CIA, be quiet, and we'll get you out of here alive." And, "Hey, he's with us," and they packed it up like a 5-star hotel room. It was out in minutes while everybody else was getting strip searched. And 20 minutes in the ride of silence, deafening silence, and bumpy roads, and police headed to the Windjammer yacht that I was on my own expense paid trip on. Police flying down from Detroit to Miami, and then police, international airfare, food, accommodations, you know, barefoot Windjammer cruise, scuba diving, ski diving, and other stuff in the ocean, and go through the West French Indies and parts of Central America, and through Panama Canal. Sounded glamorous in the late 70s, early 80s, until I realized what a shitstorm I had walked into. And by the way, ABC couldn't fire me for testing positive for LSD, which they did try to do, because they had just implemented drug testing in '85. And isn't it ironic, the guy who was taking lots of shit until he met me when I came out to work for ABC and through the Tonight Show with Carson and others, and then became a friend, was even at his funeral, and he planned his funeral to die the day I was born, so I'd never forget Timothy Leary. ABC wasn't able to fire me because when they tried to fire me for testing positive, I reminded them of the clause they forgot about, which was, in addition to syndication and production and my own companies and consulting other broadcasts or productions and running them around the world through other networks, in addition to consulting the ABC Broadcast Group, as well as helping run an O&O here in Los Angeles, I'm a multitasker. I don't sleep often, in case you haven't figured that out. It's been that way since childhood. I'm fascinated by life. I'm passionate about what I do. I love what I do. I do it with integrity. You know, I may talk a lot, but I assure you, if you dug deep, you'd find out what I talk about is only a fraction of what I've done, an eyelash. Even the credits on IMDb or the internet are fractions of the television, film, syndication, special productions, and things I've done around the world. It's just the way I am. Retired in 1999. I've officially been retired since '99. However, I'm one of the most working entertainers and consultants and people on the planet who keeps working even though I'm retired, because I love what I do. I'm passionate. I enjoy helping and educating others. I've even taught at professor levels at colleges and acting schools and universities, and lectured on strategic marketing, warfare marketing, global marketing, guerrilla marketing, private lectures on high intelligence and other things that most people are like, what? What? Oh yeah, whatever. But it's really true. You know, when you work 15 days straight, you get a lot of time to get shit done. And I've been known to go 15 or 17 days straight, nonstop, because I was shooting multiple shows and appearing in different cities and on tour with bands all at the same time. So I was like flying in and out of airports and traveling between shows, backstages, and, you know, maybe catnapping once in a while while one of my crew was driving, but not much. A lot of times I was even in the driver's seat and videotaping what we were doing on the road while, you know, blah, blah, blah. Some would call it dysfunction, ADD, or manic depression, or bipolar, or whatever. I don't take medications for that kind of stuff. And because you can do a lot of things extremely well at a genius level, but you talk different than the norm because you don't tolerate bullshit from anybody, and you can smell it a mile away, and you'll call people out on it. And you're kind of a rebel, and you know, you're the guy who will, you know, lay down on picket lines, let them try and drive over you with a truck, and I've been known to do that. Or stand in the way of police and stop them from going through and terrorizing people in an area long enough so some sanity could be restored to some overly heated hostage or other situations, has been a blessing and a curse. When I pray to see the good, the bad, the ugly, and know everything about so many things: food, medicine, healthcare, religion, theological, archaeological. I've studied so many science and blah, blah, blah. And I'm highly proficient at the things I talk about. By the time I got to universities, colleges, and I've been to so many, and the publicized most of them have been at, degrees over here, that I've been educated at, people are going to find themselves students often as they like. Julia, I've been turned around as somebody younger who had been working professionally for as many years as I had, deserved that full lie at Juilliard. And it was just a big enough compliment to be offered. Because I had already worked in every networking studio at that point. I went back to finish college. I started junior high and high school, taking advanced classes, and then Lake Superior State, going to Michigan State local seminars, humanitarian events and debate competitions, U of M in summertimes. If I wasn't at also either acting camps or vocal camps at those institutions, being educated in literature, journalism, finance, sciences, research, laboratory studies, academic biology, calculus, algebra. I've studied such a wide array of topics because I really want to understand as many things as possible in life. I've also dedicated large portions of all the monies I've raised to rent limos or do fundraisers for homeless and load up cars with, at my own expense, and going to warehouses or places and buying blankets and mattresses or food and clothing and running overseas in RTC or here in LA. I've been able to drive around in cars or limos and just pull over and talk to people and hear their story and gift them the things that they so desperately need. I still do that today. I've been doing that since childhood. I have given away more money than I've ever kept for myself because to me money's just a tool. Oh, I can mansions, security systems, armed guards, millions in state assets and things. To be only vandalized by every single person or slandered or put down by every single person almost, not every. There are some people who, despite what they've heard, the experiences I've gone through, whether they agree or not, bless them, have always had my back. There are some homeless people, or some that others would consider to be, why would you hang with people like that? Who have become my best friends, and also we're best allies. We're not best friends, but we see each other. There's a brotherhood, there's a camaraderie, and they have my back. And you know what? I think I'd rather have, some very high ethical, high performing gangsters who have codes of ethics and operate with professional protocols than deal with criminals with badges who have no ethics and are even bigger, ruthless gangsters who will manipulate and twist the law that you'll either do what they want or you're going to end up copping a plea because they'll get you set up with their snitches, bitches, and witches because they're selling kids off the streets into drugs, sex trafficking, human trafficking, ghoulie labor, torture or other sadistic things, including snuff films. The things I have witnessed and covered in hard news, from government intelligence to guerrilla warfare to terrorism to hostage events and other things at very high levels, has been such an education, such a reality check, such an adrenaline rush, such a scary movie that years ago I came to the realization that fear, after several near-death and death experiences, that fear is a wasted emotion. Worry and regret are also a lot of wasted emotion, because you can't change what has been. You can only change what is, and that's in the moment. Or make your amends for what you've done in the past and hopefully learn and grow from your mistakes. Or never learn and grow and continue to be the same fucking douchebag you've been your whole life. But the clear definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, and not figuring out why it always is so fucked up. Or doing geographics and moving, or satisfying your impulsive self-indulgences and obsessions with payday loans and mortgaging yourself beyond your wildest dreams and filing bankruptcy and being a scumbag, defaulting on people right and left. The only times I've filed bankruptcy is when I've been forced into it. I'm the only guy I know who's married into high-level government, the opposite side of the party both times, from what I was brought up with. Not that I'm allegiant to any fucking party, because they all lie. But to realize that I came from such a different mindset than these people that would gouge your eyes out and laugh and tell you why it was good for you while they're doing it, which I find to be hideous. And are the same people that are worth millions or billions, and you're lucky if you would squeeze a fucking penny out of their ass to help a charity event, unless they can grandstand and make themselves look like a hero and have a name on the fucking building or something else for their self-indulgence and be a maniac. I don't worry about any names on buildings, even though I nearly bought a university building, hotel building, and had offers in on them and city responding back, and they had some bond issues, all kinds of tax incentives for me to take over these buildings and rehab them, which back in the 90s when I was looking at acquiring these, to launch a it would cost me $20 million and under $15 million to launch a global massive wholesale enterprise, and first massive Amazon, as it's called, technology, and thousands of products international around the world. Cookware, instruments, whatever, pick it. We had that. And those days my wife. And so we were on the second honeymoon, and I took it burning at the time, but then I was 23 years and I didn't know it was just going to be, coming, so it's they put on, sheep's clothing, harlots, tirelessly. But the point I'm driving at is when we get to Hawaii, I'm not there hardly 24 hours, and mysteriously,